You ready, John?
Okay, ready.
Alright, what do you think of the Java Joint?
It's a cool place, you know, good to come and eat. Upstairs gets a little crowded and has a nice atmosphere.
Well, I spend too much time here. From time to time I claim I'm actually a hologram projected from somewhere in that wall behind me, and that if I move too far away I'll just disappear. I think it's clever, most people just think it's strange. But generally I like the Java Joint.
So now, how do you feel about the Java Joint?
How do I feel about it?
Yeah.
I like that you can get lunch down here now instead of just in DK's, because there's always like a herd of cattle up there. We're always rubbing against each other and it kind of sucks. Well, I think that one of the things that people often forget is that the administration had good reasons for changing it from student run to school run. I think there's still some growing pains.
I definitely don't like how it looks. I mean, if you look at it, the aesthetic isn't good. Last year it was more like I kind of thought of it as like the campus kind of like bar room setting where you could like sit at the counter and talk with people.
It was always kind of a perception thing. It's always been food service, meaning that the school had us supervise it from day one. Hi, my name is Bill Bailing, and I'm the food service director at Beloit College for the past 21 years. Connie Schroeder was activities person for student services, and students wanted a place that was theirs to go to, and so it actually started. I believe we called it. It might have been Middle Earth or an 810. I can't remember exactly where it started. As just kind of a little coffee shop to go to. Then it was moved to DK's as students kind of got a groundswell going with the student body, and it was moved over into Pearson's in the bottom floor. And it was still just a little coffee shop, and they did a nice job with that. And Connie and Audra, secondly, ran that almost full-time, and it was student employees. It was never student run. It was student employees, though, that you had down there, no regular employees. And then after that, when they decided to renovate over in DK's building, and the bookstore moved downtown, it was decided that the Java Joint needed to grow. It was too small where it was, and then it moved over to where it is currently.
Well, I worked at the Java Joint my sophomore and junior years. I'm Eli Weikel, and I'm a former employee of the Java Joint. What I think is that the administration had, or from what I understand from things I've read, I haven't talked to anyone, is that there's no real accountability. There's a real discrepancy between possibly what the managers that year were being told and what they were communicated, because it would be sort of really unclear what the policy was. I was gone in the fall of last year, so I get the feeling that things might have gotten a little out of control then.
The Java Joint hasn't always been totally successful financially, and last year wasn't a particularly good year financially for a number of reasons, and ultimately I'm responsible because it was my operation.
I actually didn't come to the Java Joint very often because my few experiences coming were that it was kind of elitist.
Hi, I'm Leslie Mills, and I'm a student manager at the Java Joint.
I think that I ordered hot chocolate twice in my first 3 years here at Beloit, and it was kind of watered down and it didn't taste all that great, and so the drinks weren't keeping me coming back, the atmosphere wasn't keeping me coming back, and I always felt like I was interrupting something whenever I came up to the counter.
everyone behind the counter seemed fairly distracted most of the time.
Hi, I'm Adán Iñiguez, and I'm lead student at the Java Joint.
One of the reasons that I didn't really like the atmosphere was because I really felt like I was an outsider coming in, and I really felt like I was being pushed out. Like, nothing very overt, nothing like, you know, go away, none of that, but it was very, you could feel it, that they were basically a bunch of friends who started hanging out here and who spent their whole time here.
And I know that the students who were running it were sinking it in debt.
The way that place is set up, it's almost impossible to lose money, but we managed to lose almost $5 grand in there last year.
There was a strong level of nepotism in hiring. I'm Dana Beck, and I'm the manager of the Java Joint. The people who were hired came from the group of friends of the people who worked there already, and it just ended up cycling through a very small group of people ending up having some sort of control, or at least perceived control, over the place.
I think that's really unfounded. The year I was hired, my sophomore year, I don't think anyone who was hired was friends with the managers. It was Kate Connell was the manager at the time. That was my sophomore year. I transferred here and was here for part of a semester and then took off. And then, so when I came back, you know, I didn't know any of the upperclassmen or stuff, or the people who were running the Java Joint. I didn't know any of the people who worked there. I became friends with a lot of them as a result of me working there, but not, you know, I was hired because I'd worked at a coffee shop for a year and a half.